Good afternoon, everyone. This is Francoise Lamotte for a new episode of the Digital Edge podcast. Today, we are very fortunate to have a guest with us. His name is Vladimir Orovic, and is a specialist of customer centricity. So today, we are going to focus our discussion on customer centricity and how AI is impacting this particular element of customer relationship. Vladimir, thank you for being with us today. Let's first introduce yourself, if you don't mind, and about your experience and how you came to customer centricity.
Thank you very much for having me on the podcast. It is a great honor to be part of this and to share some of my experience. My background, I passed a typical path from an engineer to a manager to a leader, being partnered with one of the big four, running financial services business for one of the largest global software companies in the world. And I somehow landed managing at one of the foremost digital agencies in the world. And that's where I started understanding the importance of customer behavior. During that journey, I was lucky enough to work and start building out one of the foremost customer centric organizations in the world, which is USAA, which arguably is the most effective and efficient organization in that respect. And that got me thinking about the business models that are related to customer centricity. And then over the years, I worked on building a number of financials or turning around a number of financial services organizations to make them customer centric.
Thank you, Vlad. And as you said, USA is one of the most recognized organization when it's about managing and satisfying their customers. So, but we talked already about customer centricity. What is your definition?
Uh, this is an interesting topic. And when you search, like even when you ask some of the AI tools, what is customer centricity, you talk a lot about, customer satisfaction, NPS, choices of products, and so forth. I have a very simple definition that we developed at Redport. It is really making customer the profit center of the organization. And I know it is occasionally controversial, but not necessarily, because in order to maximize the profitability, you really need to optimize the value exchange between customer and an organization. So it is not a one-way street; it's a two-way street. Because if you focus on revenue, profit, or any financial goal, you're definitely not going to become customer centric. You're going to lose your customers. On the other hand, if you focus just on customers, you're going to bankrupt your organization. So the equilibrium of those two generates maximum profitability. And that's why we think that defining customer centricity as making customer the profit center of the organization is important. Secondly, making him a profit center makes him the focus of the operations of the organization.
Okay, that's a great definition, and I'm sure that's been carved over time through your experience. So now we are in the world of AI. AI came as a new technology revolution, and it's really impacting any element of business, but also our personal lives. So, what do you see as changes that will happen in how we manage customers and customer centricity related to AI? What are your insights on this?
I think before I answer that question, let's start with something opposite. Let's talk about what do best customer centric organizations in the world do. And you can look at a USAA, Delta Airlines, Chewy, Zoho, HubSpot, and many others. First, they optimize time to value. Secondly, they preempt and prevent support tickets. Thirdly, they treat customer feedback as an input into the product roadmap. So they actively involve customers in their product design. They practice, which is really important, customer-centric design right. So the decisions about the customer are happening at closest to the customer touch points, and they focus so much of the customer experience on retention, because customer acquisition cost is usually much higher than customer retention cost. So if you look at those as some of the best practices of customer experience, then I think that AI changes how you do some of those things, not necessarily what you do. Because what you do is still you want to remove customer pain and you want to reduce cost to serve a customer. I mean, those are obvious things that you want to do. So, in the context of best practices, what is the role of AI? And I broke it down into five really elements that are relevant. First is faster time to value. And time to value comes really from few things like onboarding, AI supported onboarding or AI onboarding copilot. Onboarding is one of the most expensive parts of the customer management process. Auto configuration suggestions, um, continue contextual help. Those are all the things that will enable this faster time to value, where today organizations are looking at 7 to 30 days to create value.
So
The
when
other
you
is
mean, sorry, when you mean faster time to value means how quickly you can engage the relationship, how quickly you can introduce new products. That's what you have in mind. And obviously AI is able to do it faster and better, probably.
absolutely. Faster time to value is for customers means becoming more effective with the product that they are acquiring. Faster time to value means for the organization that a customer starts using product faster, so potential for revenue or profit is higher. So it really serves both. And this is the whole thing when you think about customer as a profit center, that customer needs to be satisfied, but the organization needs to create value.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, is really better support, and I think in the age of AI, level zero support needs to be AI driven and supported. There is no way that you can has to be self serve. Agentic support, agent assist. They're becoming better by the day. And the third thing that when we talk to our clients that I think a lot about is really also auto triage. So as you look at your support organization, AI can help you classify the type of incidents that or the types of problems that customers are having, which then become your input into the product roadmap. So customers are definitely going to be more satisfied the faster they can solve the problems that they have. And the organization, conversely, will become more effective and, in particular, more efficient if it can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Third is uh, one of the things that really, as I mentioned, the best practice is really proactive churn prevention. And having spent my life in professional services is such a big driver. So, as we all know, that as I said, customer acquisition is much harder than customer retention. And being able to sift through the signals that predict churn is such an important thing across all the industries, but especially in financial services organizations. AI models that predict churn are of great value to the organization because it allows them to retain the customers at a lower cost than potentially acquiring new customers.
Yeah, and it's true that for many years we've had anti-churn models and propensity to churn that were already running in many organizations, but now with AI, I think we can collect much more data and maybe data that were more like weak signals that are going to be very important. So I think it's an additional level of sophistication in anti-churn management, probably.
Absolutely, absolutely. The amount of signals that we can process, understanding the codependency is infinitely higher with artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think that one of the big things that best organizations do, and where AI can help. Not every user is extremely sophisticated, so understanding packaging and fair pricing of products is of critical importance for customer satisfaction and customer centricity. So AI can definitely help with the clarity around that. So in insurance we have the aggregators and the comparison engines and stuff like that that would actually help the customers understand the pricing of different policies. But if you can take that one level further and work with a configurator on top of that, as an example, AI supported configurator where you can naturally explain your need and you come back and it comes back with the optimal product at the optimal price, that is significantly going to improve customer satisfaction which is a critical element of customer centricity, but also it'll improve the ability of the organizations to provide value, i.e., to sell to the customers, because at the end of the day, they also need to sell their products.
Yeah,
And the
I've seen
last
already.
one, sorry, I
Sorry,
apologize.
I was going to say I've seen already models where the insurance agent, the human, is actually supported by an AI agent during the live conversation, and the AI agent can actually suggest answers, suggest new products. It's live now. It's not before or after the meeting. It's during the conversation. You have this AI agent that is supporting the conversation and helping the agent to have a better diagnostic, but also a better solution. So it's already there. Yeah.
Absolutely. And the last element where I think AI is going to be of value is product quality loop. And I think that will drive a lot of that drives a lot of customer satisfaction. So things like clustering support tickets, understanding where they come from, what are the top defect themes, what is the confusing UX flows where people spend time, what are thin paper cuts, as we call them, little things that actually uh, dissatisfy customers during their customer journeys. AI can again uh, uncover those infinitely faster and more precise than humans. And as you said previously, can work on much larger sets of data and much larger sets of signals.
Mhm.
It can automatically reproduce bugs in software development with steps, logs, impact, and of course, talking about using AI in software development, it can actually correct many of those. So in my mind, those are really the five most important use cases that drive the that where I can help in terms of customer centricity inside of organizations, and they're actually talk to what the best performing customer centric organizations actually do.
Yeah. So you talked about those use cases that are quite exciting in terms of potential. Do you feel that at this stage it's more like prototype stage, or do you believe that there are organizations that have actually implemented those solutions at scale?
Um, the vast majority are at the prototype stage. I think those forward-thinking organizations, we've seen organizations who are implementing these things at scale. Some of these things, as you mentioned, in have been around for a very long time as statistical models. Now they're just being taken to the next level forward. So while most of them are at the POC stage and at the experimentation stage, I think very quickly this is going to become the norm in terms of applying it inside of the organizations. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to compete.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe just to conclude, what would be, the one absolute necessary condition to implement those models in an organization?
I strongly believe that while technology can help, this is all about organizational alignment. And when I talk organizational alignment, is really cultural alignment and skills. It is about breaking down organization barriers and silos, because most of the things that we talked about span multiple organizational departments. It's going to be about process alignment, and of course about technology, data, and analytics. So um, those are the things that will need to be in place for an organization to become customer centric and to use AI effectively. But most important, and that's what I'm going to wrap up with, is discipline. This requires execution discipline within the organizations, and non-disciplined organization is going to, we're seeing that now, are having many failures. So in addition to organizational line, discipline will be the critical element of success.
Thank you so much, Vlad, for your insights and being on our Digital Edge podcast for today. Thanks everyone for listening, and you can subscribe to our channel and see you for a next episode very soon. Thank you, Vlad.
Thank you very much for having me.